We should be seeing a live from Facebook very soon.
We're all set.
My screen there.
Are you in that? So tell me a bit about that shirt behind you, Tom.
This was from it's the 2009-10 shirt, but I was mascot in 2010-11 when we played Leicester en route to that first FA Cup. So that was me. That was a shirt I took to get signed by all the lads as I waited in the tunnel for them to come down. So it's kind of cool as well because it was obviously Neil Young's tribute night, wasn't it, that night? So obviously my surname's Young, so it was cool that they all came out with my name on the back of the shirt. So it was
brilliant!
Tribute to Neil Young, but I was like, hey, that's me, that as well. So it worked quite well. That.
Oh, I love it. Did you brag that you were a relative, and that's why you got so many signatures?
Yeah, that's probably why I'd been entering these competitions for years. When in the city, I can't remember what it's called, the junior city group. And I think maybe the fact that my surname was Young did me a favour that day, and they rigged the vote a little bit and got me in for that one.
Oh, brilliant! Right, well, we're here to talk about Chelsea game on Thursday. 8:15 kickoff, if I am correct. Yeah, another bizarre kickoff time. And this will be Chelsea's second game. I'm right in thinking that's in a few days, isn't it?
Yeah, they beat Villa, right?
Yeah.
In their first game back. They were 1-0 down and they turned it round.
That's fine. And I've not seen much of the highlights of the Chelsea game, but it's always going to be a tough game against Chelsea. I'm a big fan of Lampard's Chelsea, which is probably doesn't help anybody either way. I think I mentioned that the other day, didn't I, Tom? And I'm really interested in this. And I'm a bit apprehensive about playing them at this stage. I'd just be happy. I'm going for a very resilient 1-0 win, but I think it's going to be real end-to-end football. What are you guys expecting from the game?
Go for it, Tom.
Yeah, I was just going to say it'll definitely be our toughest game back. It'll be our toughest game back so far. I caught a bit of the second half of the game against Villa the other day. They looked okay. They've got a couple of big names coming in the summer. They do still look a little bit weak going forward. I mean, obviously we know that the defence is a little bit suspect. But no, it'll be our toughest game so far. Our toughest game since come back. But I'd agree with you. I think especially going off the back of Burnley last night, we looked very good last night, and we looked good against Arsenal as well. So I think we seem to have been. I know we played 2 games as opposed to a lot of sides who've only played 1. But I think having watched a little bit of everyone since we come back, we seem to be the side that have got back to speed quicker than anyone else.
Yeah.
And I can't see anything past us picking up another 3 points against Chelsea on Thursday. To be honest with you,
it's worrying that I'm feeling so confident going into a game versus Chelsea. Saying that I was there when we absolutely smashed them a season or 2 ago, and that was a bit of a surreal day. Going absolutely bizarre. What do you reckon, Dave? How do you think we're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult, isn't it, now with all the rotation of players, and we've got FA Cup at the weekend as well, which it sounds like from Pep that he wants to retain this trophy and he wants to continue. So it's who is he going to put out for the Chelsea game? That's going to be the interesting thing. Does Foden keep his place because he played so phenomenally the other night? We know Aguero's out now. We don't know how long for. Is he gonna bring Laporte back? Because obviously, to Tom's point, this is probably the best team that we've played since we came back from pandemic. So does he put his strongest defense out there? Personally, I would be doing that. I would certainly have Laporte back in there. I don't know who with. Obviously, I love Garcia, but I think he's back next week. So is it Laporte and Otamendi maybe, or Fernandinho in that centre backs?
Is it 10 days for Garcia with a head injury?
That's what I understand. Yeah, 7 to 10 days that they said.
It's a bit disappointing. I would have liked to have seen him against Chelsea.
The way that I agree with Tom, the way that we've started this new season off, the number of goals we've scored, and the way that we've played, it should be a very interesting game. I'm always nervous of Chelsea, though, that they can turn it on when they want. They've got some really, really, really good players, and they're going to be even better next season. So, yeah, I'm usually the pessimistic one. So, I mean, honestly, at this stage, I would be happy with a draw coming away from Stamford Bridge, to be perfectly honest. But the way we've been playing, it's not beyond the realms of possibility we might sneak that that 1-0 or 2-1 win.
Yeah.
Tom, for the half of football you watched against Villa, did they look threatening on the attack? Because obviously they've got Werner coming in, haven't they, in the close season, which is going to really up the game of their current strikers, you think, to want to impress.
Yeah, I think obviously Villa went ahead just before half time, I think. So they were sitting back for much of the second half when I was watching it. Obviously they scored 2 really quick goals, and Giroud got another goal, who I think is one of the most underrated strikers in the Premier League. He doesn't do anything spectacular, but he chips in with goals. So I think obviously with Werner coming in next season, there's not going to be anyone else starting up front other than Werner. But one thing I was just going to add as well is that obviously for Chelsea, the game on Thursday, I mean, we've not lost the league yet, but as we keep saying, it's just waiting for Liverpool to officially be declared champions. We've obviously got the game against Newcastle in the Cup on the Sunday. And for Chelsea, they're fighting for that top 4 spot with United and Sheffield United and the likes not far behind. So I'd say it's probably a bigger game for Chelsea than it is for us, in that they need a win more so than we do. Obviously, Guardiola's never going to look ahead to Sunday and then think, I'll play a weakened side, because Guardiola doesn't do that. Guardiola wants to go out and win every game. But that's probably something to take into account, is that the game probably means slightly more in terms of how, in terms of finishing, where they're going to finish in the league to Chelsea than it does to us. Because like I said, they've got a couple of teams that are right up behind them. And if we beat them on Thursday, they could quite easily drop out of the Champions League places come the end of the game week.
That's a really good point, actually. I'm looking at the table now. Chelsea sit in 4th place on 51 points. Ahead of them on 54 points is Leicester, and it's quite a space then between Chelsea and City. But right below them, United on 46 points and Wolves on 46 points. They need to win. They need to keep that barrier, don't they? They're their comfort blanket. So it's a really good point, that, Tom. Where I think you're right there. But I think, you know, the thing is with that, if they've got more of an inkling to win, that means they're going to come at us. And the teams that come at us, we should be able to hopefully pick apart with a De Bruyne pass or a no-look pass like Foden did last night. That was amazing, that, wasn't it? Yeah. It was great to watch. But obviously, we've got to be conscious as well. We play Liverpool, don't we, next Thursday? We got
so many games.
It's bonkers, isn't it? So, we got Thursday, Sunday. And then the 8th and then 11th for we play Newcastle again in a few weeks, don't we? So if you were going to prioritise the game against Liverpool or Newcastle, for me personally, it's the Newcastle game, because obviously FA Cup. How do you two think about that?
That is a big question. I really want to beat Liverpool, even if it's behind closed doors. And yes, they're going to win the title, but I'd hate for them to be not only Premier League winners, but did the double over us as well during it. Yeah, Newcastle is a massive game for us, and I would love for us to retain that trophy. I mean, can I just be greedy and say I just want to win both games really, really well?
All right, I'll ask the question again. If you're going to play Laporte, against which one would you play against?
Liverpool, for me. Well, and I say that from the standpoint of, you know, we want Laporte to be and he kind of is in a way our next Vincent Kompany, right? Our big game player who is there to rely on. He's only going to get better as a player if he's playing against the cream of the crop. And what better to be playing against the probable Premier League champions? You know, he needs to be up against the Zalars and the Manes and the Firminos to raise his game and be better next season for us. So
yeah, I'd agree with that. I think with no disrespect to Newcastle as well, I think I'd fancy us to go out and beat Newcastle without Laporte on the pitch, whereas I wouldn't particularly fancy us to go out and beat Liverpool without Laporte on the pitch. I think as well, Joe Linton, who will probably be playing up front for Newcastle in that game on Sunday, he's not the quickest of strikers. He's a bit of a physical striker, and they're the kinds of players that I think Otamendi prefers playing against. Because the chances are the game that Laporte doesn't play, if Garcia's not fit, will have Otamendi playing. So I think if you had to have Otamendi playing in one and Laporte playing in the other, I'd much rather see Otamendi going up against Joe Linton and going shoulder to shoulder with him than seeing him trying trying to do anything about Salah or Mane, because I don't think that'd end too well, to be honest with you.
No,
I agree.
Kante's back to full fitness and back to full training for Chelsea now. He's a player we've obviously got a lot of talent, and he's done very well for himself. He's going to be a big player for them, I think. I think if he plays in his natural defensive midfield position,
that's the thing. I just keep hearing about Conte, that Lampard's going to sell him to raise funds to buy, a couple of other players. I would take Conte to City in an absolute heartbeat. You have Fernandinho in the defensive midfield role. We've got Rodri, who's learning the ropes, but Conte has been there and done that with Chelsea already, with Leicester, with the French national team. Good grief. I mean, if he's up for sale, I would buy him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, especially as I don't know how old he is, but Fernandinho's the tail end of his career now, isn't he? So to have a Rodri and Kante in that defensive midfield position, it's not a bad thing to have, isn't it? What are you thinking squad wise for team starting wise, Tom? What do you think? Have you got a starting lineup that you'd bear in mind? As we mentioned the other day, we've never predicted Pep form correctly, so here's your chance.
Yeah, I just like we were saying earlier, I want to see the one name I definitely want to see on that team sheet is Phil Foden, because I think the way he played on last night I should say, he was the best player on the pitch. I think there's now obviously that selection headache around. Obviously Aguero's going to be out for, we don't know exactly how long yet, but he's definitely not going to be playing on Thursday. And then that bodes the question of, does he want Jesus for the Newcastle game, and so on and so on. And there's been a bit of talk about who will play centre forward. I think for me, as much as De Bruyne does a job at centre forward, I think he's slightly wasted there in that he doesn't see obviously as much of the ball. But I was thinking about it today, and I was thinking obviously Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne switched about in Madrid when we won 2-1 there. But I wouldn't even mind seeing Foden play at centre forward with me. I think Guardiola's liking seeing him playing upfield in the left wing role and cutting in. And he's shown over the last couple of days, when he gets a sniff in front of goal, he knows where the back of the net is. So I think playing him as that false nine, maybe not obviously out and out striker, but a little bit deeper, I think that's something which might be worth a look at, if I'm honest with you. Whether or not we see that happen, I'm not sure, but I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world. But yeah, with regards to the team, obviously you're going to have Edison in there, aren't you? I think we'll probably see Walker back in. I do think we'll see Laporte on Thursday, and then Otamendi probably alongside him. With I thought Zinchenko looked okay last night, but I do think Mendy will come back against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Probably Gundogan and Rodri, De Bruyne, and then I'd say probably Sterling, Mahrez, and then Bernardo. But like I say, I'd like to see Foden play. But whether or not he's going to play Foden back to back, or if he's going to save him for the Newcastle game, I'm not sure. But I do think we'll see. Mahrez should be continuing for me, because he's looked one of our best players the first couple of games. But yeah, I can't see a massive changes. But I think we'll see a couple of names in, a couple of names out, as you do every week with Guardiola.
Yeah, I think this is the type of game where I'm going to say that the other MIB lads are going to hate me for this, but this is a Gundogan game written all over it. I think he'll drop Mahrez. I think he'll put Gundogan in. I think he'll go for KDB, Bernardo, Sterling, and Jesus, with Rodri and Gundogan running rings around their centre forward positions. And like you said, exactly the same as you: Edison, Walker, Fernandinho, Laporte, and Mendy. But again, what do we know? He'll probably stick a youth academy player in at some point, no doubt, to really mix it up. Anyway, what do you reckon, Dave?
Yeah, I think Eve. The one good thing that's come out of this is the number of substitutions that we can now do, and the water breaks and whatever else. So at least it's giving Pep that flexibility to change things up at at half time or even during the game. So yeah, to your point, he might go with a more solid team to begin with, try and get a goal up, and then he might mix things up a little bit. I think we've seen that in the last couple of games. So for me, what I've been really interested in is, I think I complained in the past that Pep Guardiola, when things weren't going well, would tend to wait until the 75th, 80th minute, to bring on a substitution. And I'm happy to see that what has changed, over the last couple of games back, is that he is now taking a chance and resting players and maybe trying out a new system and seeing what works. I think we're going to see exactly the same thing on Thursday. He's going to start with a stronger team, the Laportes, etc., and then with an eye on with a weekend, see if we can get that goal up. And then, I don't think Foden will start either. But what we might see is that him come on for the last 20 minutes just to stretch his legs a little bit and just be ready for the weekend game against Newcastle.
Jason Matthews on Facebook had a really good point, and he said, I'd love the no striker plan against Chelsea. Worked a treat against a while ago, and we need to protect Jesus more. Do you know, it's a really good shout, that. Drop Jesus and play that another attacking midfielder in the position. I can see that working against Chelsea, actually, Jason. That's a really good shout. How do you think, as Biraj Kamuri said, how do we think the central forward position is going to be worked now with Jesus, with Sergio being injured for 5 or 6 weeks? How do you think we're going to manage that? Because we need to protect Jesus. He gets a knock.
Yeah. And I think for me, Pep's been the same since he became manager of Barcelona. His expectation is it's on all of those forward players to chip in with goals. So he's not totally reliant on an Aguero or Jesus or, whoever, it might be. He's expecting Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Jesus, Mahrez, all getting 10, 15 goals. And I think that's the beauty of Pep Guardiola, that he's built his team for every position to actually chip in with goals. Those left backs, right backs, I want 5 goals from you a season. Centre backs, I want between 5 and 10 a season. Your forward players, I expect 10 to 15 goals a season, and I love that. So I'm not too worried if he doesn't play with an out-and-out striker, because basically we'll still get those opportunities to score goals, and we'll have worked on it in training that, okay, Bernardo Silva, you're going to make the runs today into that box, or De Bruyne is, or Sterling is, or whoever it might be.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? So give us your score predictions, lads. Give us after we've spoke about this and how we've had time to digest what our thoughts are. How do we think this is going to end up? I'm sticking with my 1-0.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Like I said earlier, I think we'll win, and I can't see it being many goals, so I'd probably go 1-0 as well. And I'm going to go again with the De Bruyne second half goal, as we saw a couple of years ago.
I'm going to go. I think Chelsea are a good team, and I think they might get one past us. I'm going to go 2-1 City. I think if we play the right team, De Bruyne has a good game in particular. I think we might just have a little bit too much for them. I'll go 2-1 City.
2-1. Right. So we're all agreeing on a win then.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I think you're right. I think I was a bit apprehensive about the Burnley game. The tough team to play. As soon as we got that first goal, we seemed to, in the nicest possible way, push them to one side. And it's not going to be easy against Chelsea, is that, is it? It really isn't. We get one goal. We'll need to get another one just to make sure we got that barrier between us. It's going to be a tough game. I think we can all accept that. But on the other side of the coin, it's going to be a really good game. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah. Right? Anything else to add, lads, before we shoot off?
Yeah, I wanted to mention as well Pep's little talk that he did after the game yesterday, and I found it really interesting that he got asked a question about how important the points are at this time of the season, and he looked at the reporter and he said, we're qualifying, we need these points, we're qualifying for the Champions League. And I love that thinking, that there's no thought in his mind that, we're going to get banned for the next two seasons, because he's had that question so many times now. Pep Guardiola is adamant that he is playing the rest of this Premier League to get a top 4 spot. So he fully expects us to be in the Champions League next season. And I love that. I love that mentality, because that's going to rub off on the players as well, that, don't think about this cast thing, that's coming down in the next, in the next few weeks. We're going to get that decision. Just focus on right now. Hey, we're playing. We're going to get through this. We're playing for our top 4 spot. We're going to be playing Champions League football next season. And I loved to hear that from him in the post-match interview yesterday. Like, good on him for saying that.
I never picked that up. That's a really good point, Ashley. Yeah, really good shot. Positivity's got to come from the top, hasn't it, in any organisation? When you got somebody as,
Yeah.
as enthusiastic, as energetic as Pep saying that, it's going to run through to the players as well. So yeah, if he was all doom and gloom, the players would be doom and gloom as well, wouldn't they? So yeah, really good shout that, Dave. Really good shout.
Yeah.
Cool. We've had a couple of scores come in from. We've had a 2-1 from Joanne Hardy. Phil McManus has come in for a 3-1. De Bruyne, David Silva, and Foden. I would love to see Foden start. I just don't think he will.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. Like I said earlier, I think I'd love to see him play. But at the same time, if we're talking what's more important, Chelsea or Newcastle, I'd probably edge towards Newcastle in the fact that we're favourites to win the FA Cup, and I'd love to see us win the FA Cup back to back. So for me, Foden's one of our best players at the minute, as is Mahrez. And if the two of them get a rest against Chelsea and are raring to go for Newcastle on Sunday, then I've got no qualms with that. I do think we'll see him get on the pitch for the last 20 minutes or so, as Dave said earlier. But no, I can't see Foden starting on Thursday either, to be honest with you.
Never mind back-to-back FA Cups. We're still on for the quadruple, lads. Let's be positive.
Still on. Dan Halifax will be pleased to hear that.
Come on, Blues. We're having it.
Funny, there's been a lot about Foden, and obviously quite rightly. What I want to make sure that we do, though, is, not get carried away. The British media have this real tendency to build, the player up. Foden's going to win us, the European Championship next season, and the World Cup in a couple of years. Like, don't build him up to then just, to just bring him down. It's just such a British mentality, isn't it, to do that? And just, can we please just let him get on with learning the game and playing for Manchester City, and just don't. He is already a wonderful player. If we treat him right, he is going to be one of the best players that Britain's ever produced. But please, media, don't hype him up too much. Just let him get on with his game.
Well said. Here. Completely agree with that. And the media will completely ignore you, and they'll have sex, drugs, and violence in the media about Foden in the next 5 years. I think we all know that, don't we?
Yeah, and I feel so bad for him because, and that was the other question as well. And we've talked about it on many pods with this, that Pep was asked about whether this is a good thing for Foden in particular, that the championships were cancelled or postponed for a year and they're going to be next year. And we've talked about on the pod that I think this is absolutely brilliant news if you're an England fan, because it's going to give the Mason Mounts, the Fodens, the Abrahams, that extra year. I mean, I'm excited already. I really feel in a year's time that England could absolutely batter everyone in this European Championship. We've got some of the best players in the world, and they're all 19, 20, 21 years of age. And if you mix that with some of the more seasoned professionals that we've got in that England team, the Sterlings, the Kanes, really think we could be onto something in 12 months' time in the Championship. I really do.
And Pep's played it really well. Pep has managed the situation, from all the rumours about loans, all the stupid journalists saying he should be out on loan, he should be doing this. Pep has just looked what he did at Barcelona, emulated it with, was it Xavi and Iniesta? What did you say, Dave, a few months ago?
Xavi, Iniesta, Deco, none of them ever went out on loan. What they did do, and what we've talked about before, is obviously it's a little bit different in Spain. The Barcelona B team essentially plays in a lower league, and I've kind of said before, wouldn't it be wonderful if Manchester City kind of had that B team that played in League One or League Two? Yeah. We could keep them at Manchester City in some way, play them. Guardiola's then just kind of watching them, and then he'll see when they're ready to go into that first team. So we're keeping an eye on them, but keeping them there. That's what he did with Deco. That's what he did with Busquets, with Iniesta, with Xavi, and look at the players that they turned out to be. I think if we handle this right with Foden, which we have done so far, I've said on many, many occasions, and you were saying that yesterday, Tom, about his actual goal. I think Manchester City have got their own Steven Gerrard with Foden. I think he's going to be that important to the club over the next 10, 15 years. He's going to be the leader. He's going to be the captain. He's going to chip in with goals. He's just going to be a beautiful player to watch. Again, please, media, don't put all of that hype on him. Just let him get on with his game. and you'll see.
It's so exciting. Right, okay, leave you lads. Time for some tea. Have a lovely evening, Blues, and we'll speak to you in the next couple of days. Thanks, lads.
Cheers,
Cheers, Blues. Bye.
Bye, guys.